Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Welcome to Monday Musings-Danny SportsWrap, and sometimes you just have to get away, and that hasn't really been possible or really likely recently, and over the weekend, my wife and I finally had a little getaway. It was my birthday weekend, and we did something quite simple. We just did a driving trip to Brownville, Nebraska, a quaint little town with some art galleries and such. Not all of it is wide open right now, but there's a cute little museum, and we stayed in a nice B&B, and it was just a wonderful time. Basically only about 36 hours, but remarkable that when you've had nothing like that, how great it seems, and I can highly recommend doing that for yourself. But certainly I was still paying attention to all that was going on in sports, and I'll tell you what, getting away from not playing good baseball, that's been the theme for the Kansas City Royals right when they were about to make the season completely irrelevant if we in the end play an entire season. The Royals, who were sitting at 3-10, won 4 games in a row. The last 3 of those against the Minnesota Twins, a team that came in red hot at 10-2, and they beat them 3 times and looked good doing it. Now they take a day off today and move on to Cincinnati with a renewed sense of health and confidence and vigor. Yesterday, another step was made as Hunter Dozier came back. He had a bad situation with COVID. He came back, drove in 2 runs with his very first at-bat. And Brady Singer was out there and effective again on the mound. The young pitching has looked good. The bullpen was rock solid over the weekend. Salvador Perez is hitting the baseball. We've seen Jorge Soler hit tape measure shots, 850-plus feet of home runs on Saturday night. Lots of good things are going on. But then again, these days, other things are going on as well. And college football appears like it's on the rocks today. And in fact, by the time you hear this, an announcement may have been made about postponement or cancellation. We seem to be barreling towards that in college football all along. I think most of us felt like college football was going to be a bit of a long shot. But maybe today we'll get some clarity on that, or at least in the next couple of days as well. And another intriguing aspect of the sports calendar is Sporting Kansas City and MLS announced their schedule. They're going to play 18 more games this year. The first 6 are set, and those will include fans in Kansas City, as a certain percentage, 14%, about 2,500 fans, will go to Sporting Children's Mercy Park, and that will be another experiment with Sporting very much being on the cutting edge as far as that is concerned. So a whole lot of things on the table, some that bring smiles, some that bring grimaces. That's the way it is right now, and we'll get after it starting up next. We're here with Joe Spiker, the CEO and president of Easton Roofing. And Joe, you had a great year in 2019, a record year. 2020 comes, things are moving smoothly along, and then the coronavirus comes. But your company seemed to be very ready, very proactive, and very ready to serve your customers well.
Yeah, we adopted social distancing very early before the cities even put out the notices. And we started working from home. We are largely cloud-based as a company, so that transition was easy. Our technicians are wearing masks and gloves, and salespeople are not meeting with homeowners. We're doing everything digitally and doing everything we can to do our part to get over this as quickly as possible.
So for any needs that people have right now, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Well, you can always call us, 913-257-5426. But the best way is to go to eastonroofing.com, put your information in, and we'll give you a call.
Easton Roofing. Integrity matters. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300. I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
Welcome back to Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap, and how about those Royals? The Royals were about to become an asterisk, a training camp team, a developmental squad, but then they went out and won 4 straight games, got some players back, got some young players who are looking good. Good news all over the lot, playing in their home ballpark, not that it really mattered. I have noticed in looking at the records that it seems like road teams are not playing particularly good baseball right now. I can understand that. If you are going ballpark, hotel, no distractions, no diversions, it probably isn't as nice as being at home and at least being able to have that time away from the ballpark. But I don't know if that's just sort of anecdotal right now, not scientific, but in looking at the road records, that seems like it's the case to me, and why that's the case is just pure speculation. But there is no need for real speculation as far as the Royals are concerned. They just look good, and they won 4 games in different kinds of fashion. They belted the ball in a couple of games and won high-scoring affairs. They won a couple of low-scoring games. They won with tight bullpens. They won a 1-run game. They won a 2-run game. It really has looked just great, and up and down the board, there's real, all of a sudden, mood for optimism. And I said on Friday when I was visiting with Soren Petro and Danny Unleashed that I thought the Royals had looked a lot better than a 4-10 team. Maybe that was pie in the sky, but then the weekend seemed to prove that maybe that indeed was the case. And what it made it look like is that going forward, the Royals maybe have a more viable squad than we thought. Now that will remain to be seen. There certainly are holes in this team, and they have the capability of going into offensive funks, certainly, and that could happen right around the corner. Their young pitchers have been being seen by opponents for the first time. For instance, Brady Singer is now going to pitch 3 consecutive times against the Minnesota Twins. How will that affect how he looks? But certainly the young pitchers so far, they're probably benefiting by that. When other teams see them, get more scouting, get more tape, study them more, take them more seriously, everything like that, maybe things will change. But they seem like they have arms in the bullpen that are viable, be it reclamation projects like Greg Holland and Trevor Rosenthal, or younger players like Scott Barlow and Josh Stamont. Actually, they've all been looking pretty good. And Mike Matheny, why wouldn't we want to listen to the Royals manager right now when he's got good things to talk about? Just a week ago on a Sunday, his team wasn't in that good a situation, and he was trying to put up a brave front. He doesn't have to do that right now because from Brady Singer on, it was a good news Sunday for the Kansas City Royals.
Really impressed with just a look of his changeup from the side. Looking forward to watching some of the action on film on it as well. But the hitter's reactions, obviously his fastball, placing his fastball is always going to be the single best weapon he's going to have each night. But after that, mixing in the slider as well as a changeup that seems to, I think he's just gaining more confidence in it. And as he gains confidence, he finishes it, throws it better, and you're getting some of the depth. You're getting a good change in the velocity. It was just a great day, and then, he makes a play that I'm confident he's not going to do again with trying to barehand that ball. It's just an athletic, natural reaction that we need to undo with every single one of our guys. But that could have gone really, really bad, obviously with the injury. But after that, not having a feel for the ball, and he did a nice job of regaining his composure and kind of pitching through that and did a great job of getting big outs right in the middle of their big part of their order.
It seems like we talk every night about how phenomenal the bullpen, and today was no exception. Were you planning on going multiple with Josh today, or was there availability issues down there too?
Yeah, we had availability issues, and so we had to get Josh and Scotty Barlow to finish this one, and we could have Zuber could have helped out at some point. Figured we'd probably use Greg Holland, but he's been going like a war horse for us. This guy has just been so special with how he's coming in and making good pitches. But those were the guys that we really knew we were going to probably lean on today if we had a chance to put this away, and they stepped up in a big way. Josh was just fantastic. Ball jumping out of his hand, controlling the strike zone. When he controls the strike zone, his stuff's going to take over.
Big picture, is this now beginning to look a lot like the team you envisioned back in Arizona?
Well, just really good baseball. That was a series of, to answer your question quickly, but to elaborate, we wanted to see speed. We wanted to see pressure. We wanted to see defense. We believe in our pitching. And you're watching some of these guys that you would hope would be part of that conversation that we didn't know if that was going to be possible or not. And they are, and they're doing what we needed them to do. And you can start to envision about halfway through spring, when we were still in Arizona, how this bullpen could come around and what we thought might have been one of our weaknesses last year to be one of our strengths this year. And but this just comes down to each man just getting better. These guys are really impressive in how they're working on different parts of their game, whether it's the running game, whether it's controlling the strike zone, and then working on some of their secondary pitches and how to use them. Just very impressed with what that pen has done.
Thanks, Skip.
Mike, along those lines of availability issues, how welcome is this day off for you guys? You've really been going at it for a long time.
Todd, the guys will argue with this, I'm sure. We haven't talked about it, but usually it feels like it's 17 in a row, but it doesn't. I almost just want to keep watching what I'm watching. We're having so much fun coming to the park right now. I'm having trouble explaining it, despite the fact that we don't have our fans here. When you start playing that kind of baseball, you don't want anything to get in the way. But what we'll do is we'll just get ourselves a little more rested and hopefully continue it once we get to Cincinnati.
And Mike, what was it like to see in his first time in the plate this season, Dozier step up and sort of deliver for you guys?
Yeah, big spot. No sense of waiting around, right? And he comes through nice. And you could hear whenever anybody else. Hunter was in here pretty early today. He wanted to make sure he got his work. And as you could just hear different players come in, it was like, all right, now here we go. He's back, and we got the band back together. You're just hearing different things that you could tell they were excited to just get all the pieces. And let's see how it looks once we put all the pieces out there on the field. And I know everybody's been excited about how we've been going about the last couple of days. The guys in there, how they're fighting through, the energy, the excitement, every little portion of the game that you want to see. And then putting more of these guys back into the fold is exactly where they want to be and how we want to keep things.
It's really just smiles all around for the Royals. You might as well enjoy it while you can. First of all, we don't know how long we'll necessarily have baseball. Second of all, we don't know how long we'll necessarily have good Royals baseball. But right now, it's good and promising Royals baseball, and that certainly is a fun thing. Not nearly as much fun as the college football situation, and the Power 5 commissioners met in a meeting yesterday. I assume it was a Zoom meeting. Nobody really said, but you can always assume things are Zoom meetings these days. And they had discussions. They came to no decisions, and they're talking again today. And it seems like the Pac-10, the Pac-12, and the Big Ten are at the forefront of perhaps saying that we have to cancel or postpone this season. The Pac-12 is getting some medical information tomorrow for their presidents and commissioners. And more, it's the long-term health effects of the coronavirus that are perhaps driving the concerns of college football in the form of potential lawsuits for heart problems and things like that. And then there's just the bottom line issue of why parents or loved ones should feel comfortable about sending their 18 to 22-year-olds to go play college football if, A, fans aren't going to be allowed in the stands to watch them play the game, and that's not considered safe for people, and in many cases, students aren't returning to campus to participate in class, but yet again, on that campus, football players are playing football. There just seems to be a complete dichotomy to that, and more it seems like we're barreling at the very least to a postponement of college football. Certainly there's no logistical reason why you can't play college football in the spring. Now, would you want to play consecutive football seasons that close to each other? Will we even be in a better place as far as the virus is concerned by spring? All these questions are on the board, but as I said, even by the time you hear this, we may have an announcement or certainty that there will not be college football. I'm thinking right now the odds of playing significant college football this fall can't be any better than 1 in 4, and maybe that's even optimistic as well. Pro football is more optimistic, and there's a lot of talk about pro football, perhaps if college football doesn't play, really taking advantage of it from a marketing standpoint and playing Saturday afternoon football and Saturday evening football and Friday night football. But as far as the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL right now, the biggest news is that there really isn't that much news. And the NFL pretty much has just sort of headstrongly pushed along during this process. They've had the advantage of time. They still have the advantage of time. They may have another great window as far as the ability to dominate the sports landscape again. Certainly they seem quite likely to be the only football that will be played this fall. But will they look to college football, and will their players look to college football and say, wow, they're not playing football. Why are we playing football? Well, big difference is that you're getting paid a lot of money to play football. Now, while 66 players, I believe it was, opted out, that still means that a large percentage of the players have decided to play, and you cannot opt out anymore and receive the stipend. Obviously, you can just decide you don't want to play. So that's a $150,000 or a $300,000 decision, depending on whether you are considered an at-risk person. But really, the news that we get out of football camps right now is just about, well, just that, football, what position battles are, and fun things like the race between Mecole Hardman and Tyreek Hill, which Tyreek Hill won, by the way. And they've had a couple of these challenges, and one thing, and Patrick Mahomes said, I'd like to see them running down the field for a touchdown more than racing each other, and you just would not want to see one of these guys come up with a hamstring injury when they were doing that. But since it didn't happen, it was good, clean fun, and Tyreek Hill again established himself as the fastest guy, although high-level statistics have shown that on the football field, the fastest speed that has been registered was by Mecole Hardman, but Tyreek Hill is still the king of the hill as far as being a speed merchant for the Kansas City Chiefs. And as we alternated in segment 1 here, smiles for the Royals, frowns for college football, and generally, right now anyway, smiles for the NFL and the Kansas City Chiefs. A compelling golf major was played over the weekend, and a particularly compelling aspect of what we look forward to as far as the potential testing of the waters of sports fans coming back is a two-pronged topic that we'll explore next, coming up on Monday Musings, Danny SportsWrap.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner, and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that, and moving on in age as we all are. What do the Getaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Getaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. They just contacted me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Getaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Getaway.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery in Lawrence. I just want to thank everybody for supporting local restaurants during this time of uncertainty. 23rd Street Brewery is now open until this pandemic is over. And right now, more than anything, local restaurants need your help and support. Come on out and see us. 23rd Street Brewery is open now from 11:30 till 9 o'clock for dine-in and carry-out. Whatever we can do to help you out, maybe with your catering needs, too. I appreciate all the support, and thank you for continuing to shop local.
Let's spend a minute with Dr. Brad Woodle, who, along with his wife, Dr. Christina Woodle, the owners of Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, my home for chiropractic care. And first of all, just tell us about the wide range of services you offer.
Danny, we offer comprehensive chiropractic, acupuncture, physiotherapy, and rehab. We do a very thorough examination, x-rays on site as necessary, and we have a full rehabilitation department, so we can help out with exercises, stretches, different therapies for the complex, but also the very simple conditions we treat.
You have been deemed essential and have remained open all through this COVID-19 process. What are some of the things you've done to make sure that was the case?
From the very beginning, in March, we started to make sure that we were cleaning and sanitizing with EPA-registered sanitizing products. We also implemented masks way before the state required them. We implemented a parking lot waiting room, took out half of the chairs in our waiting room, and made sure to space out visits so we could appropriately meet, discuss, and also screen patients to make sure we were taking care of healthy people.
Find out more about Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture and how they can help you at asfca.com. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at Danny@DannyKlinkScale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. Welcome back, and the PGA Championship was held over the weekend at Harding Park. No fans, of course, but in California being played, and a major championship for the first time in over a year. Certainly had the excitement and probably the higher viewership. Early indications are that. And even though Tiger Woods was not in the mix, even though Rory McIlroy wasn't in the mix, there certainly was tremendous excitement. And then a Sunday for the ages, really. The only thing that would have made it more for the ages were if a couple of more of the gigantic stars of the game were there, but there were plenty of those, and at times 6, 7 players tied for the lead. Looked like a playoff was almost a certainty, but then a rising star who looks like he has the goods to perhaps stay around for a long, long time, Colin Morikawa, made the big shots, the spectacular shots, that in the end got him a win. He chipped in on the 14th hole, and then on the 16th hole, a drivable par 4. He hit an unbelievably pure shot to about 12 feet and made an eagle putt that separated him from the pack and ended up winning by a couple of shots. It was the first major he has played in, and he wins it. He's 23 years old, and he wins it. He won the PGA at 23 years of age, something that only Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus, and Rory McIlroy have done. And he seems to have the composure and the steadiness of game that he's going to be in the mix, it seems, for a long, long time. In golf, you never predict that gigantic things are going to happen for someone because they do something once or twice. The man he beat going down the stretch, Dustin Johnson, has 21 victories on the PGA Tour. That's an incredible total, and he has won one major. Winning majors is a difficult thing, and to predict that Colin Morikawa is going to win 5, 7, 8, winning 5 is incredible. Think of that. Phil Mickelson has won 5 majors. He's participated in a billion of them. And so the winning percentage is tiny. And even that winning percentage, with Phil playing, I think, upwards of 70 majors, is less than 10%. And that's good. So that certainly, I'm not going to sit here and say that Colin Morikawa is going to be a multiple major champion, but he certainly has the goods to do it. He hits the ball far enough. He doesn't really have a weakness. He overcame a situation earlier this year where he missed a very short putt to win a tournament, or to outright win the tournament, which he ended up losing in a playoff. And his putting has been indifferent, but it wasn't yesterday, and it doesn't seem to be a long-term problem for him. He's got a game of variety across the board. So really an incredible Sunday for golf fans, and I think for sports fans if they were paying attention. But for sports fans who don't normally pay attention to golf, there was certainly a side issue to this particular tournament that was fascinating as well, because a different kind of golfer, Brooks Koepka, who carries himself in a different way than most golfers, was throwing shade everywhere over the weekend, including at Dustin Johnson. Well, he's only won one major. I like my chances tomorrow. I'm pretty good when these situations come up, and he's only got one, and the other guys don't have any. So I like my chances. Well, usually he has carried that intimidation to the golf course, and he has won 4 majors. He was bidding to win 5 of the past 8 majors, but then he went out on Sunday, and for once, he didn't back it up. He didn't come close. He had a terrible day. He was all over the map, ended up making a birdie or two late to shoot 3 over par, but Koepka didn't have it. And then afterwards, Rory McIlroy, who also had a rather lackluster weekend, although he had a good day on Sunday, was asked about it, and he wasn't a big fan of what Koepka said. And frankly, I don't think I'm that big a fan of what Koepka said. He's supposed to be Dustin Johnson's friend, and if somebody's won 21 tournaments and one major, he's a great player. There's no reason to, you can say that I've been great in these situations, but there's just no necessity to be tossing out the fact that other people haven't done it. But he's bold about it, and I'm sure there are some people who really like it. He's done it to Rory McIlroy, saying, I came on tour 5 years ago. He hasn't even won a major in that time. I've won 4 of them. I don't even consider it a rivalry. Well, for once, as I said, Brooks Koepka wasn't able to back up what he said, and that was certainly a fascinating sidebar soap opera bit for the PGA Championship, which certainly was an incredible event with Colin Morikawa getting the goods and looking forward to a rapid succession of majors. That's another good thing in his favor as far as maybe getting 2 or 3 checked off the box pretty early, because they're going to play a lot of majors in not very long span of time, because we're just starting now, and by the end of next July, we hope, or August, we'll have played 7 majors in that stretch. So, or maybe 8 majors in that stretch. So if you get hot, stay hot as a young player, you can be in the mix in a variety of majors in a rapid fashion, and Colin Morikawa certainly has the chance to do that. He looks the part. I think he's a very marketable person, and certainly he will not be doing some of the things that either people like or don't like with Brooks Koepka. You're not going to hear that kind of stuff coming out of the mouth of Colin Morikawa. He'll just say, I'm happy to be the PGA champion, which he is. MLS announced their schedule on Sunday, and it's going to be a bit of a different one, just as everything is in this world. Basically, they've played the equivalent of 5 regular season matches so far. A couple teams have to make some up, so they will not play the exact same schedule. But right now, 6 games have been rolled out. A total of 18 are supposed to be played eventually in the season, and Sporting Kansas City is going to once again be at the forefront. And starting with their August 21st match, they are going to have fans in the stands. Now, it will be a limited amount of fans, 14% in keeping with local regulations. August 21st is still 11 days away, so things can certainly change as far as that is concerned. And Sporting was really one of the first sports franchises who returned to practice in a dedicated way. They did it successfully. They had just 1 or 2 minor situations as far as testing is concerned. So they have been at the forefront of this, and they may well be one of, if not the American sport. I think bull riding has done some fans in a limited process. Golf has started to let some families onto the golf course, but August 21st could well be the first real sighting of fans of any significant numbers at an American sports event, and we'll just have to see how it goes. It is a test. 2,500 people can certainly be spaced in a very responsible, we think, way, but who gets in, how they get in, how it's structured, what it looks like. I did a podcast a couple of weeks ago that you might want to look back on the science and analytics of putting fans in stadiums and arenas, and it's certainly something, that kind of information. I don't think they got it from the person I interviewed, but Sporting Kansas City will be at the forefront there. And also, from a soccer standpoint, it'll be a bit of a sprint as well. The season is supposed to be longer than that. This is a significant chunk of a season. They will play about 2/3 of what a season would be if they can play it all the way through successfully, and we'll see how it goes. It'll also it will be a very truncated season. The strength and depth of your roster will be tested, but the most intriguing part of this news certainly is the fact that as of this moment, about 2,500 fans will be gracing the first home match for Sporting Kansas City, and they will be at the forefront of fans returning, we hope, over time in significant numbers to our sports events, because that would just be an indication that things in general were progressing on a more positive level, and that will be a really good thing, although certainly the trend lines in many areas are not particularly good. We'll see if we can uptick that, start to take stock and do things in a responsible manner. I'll tell you, it just depends on where you go, what things are being done. I went to that little town in Nebraska. There was basically no masks to be seen. Not at all. The regulations in Nebraska are pretty lax as far as that is concerned. A restaurant can have 100% capacity. You're not required to wear a mask. So Danny Clinkscale and his wife were among the few mask wearers in Brownville, Nebraska over the weekend. But mask or no mask, it was a fun time, and a fun and interesting time in sports as well, as we maneuver through all of the vagaries of our world of coronavirus. And things change by the moment, and in fact, a couple of the things that I said here about college football may have been changed by the time you're hearing this. We go with the flow, be it in sports or any of the other activities that we follow at DannyClinkscale.com and the Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Always fun talking to you. Be well, be safe, and let's get rolling.
This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like
Easton Roofing, the presenting sponsor of Kansas City Profiles at the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Easton Roofing, where integrity matters.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new.